Well, let's just get it out of the way. He went to LSU. I have a whole episode. I wasn't really defending him, but I was tired of watching sources and I was tired of watching this, and I had to tell like what I thought was real in that he didn't handle it well, but he handled it the way he thought he should have. I get it. There was something in his brain that told him that he could coach in the playoff while taking this job. He was wrong. We all know that. And then at the time, there was that report that he gave coaches an ultimatum of like, come with me or you don't have a job. He did the interview for 5 minutes on the the terminal, whatever. He said he didn't say that. So I had to go by what he said. No other coach came out and said that was true. No player at the time came out. So I had to come out and say, stop spewing that until you know it's true. Yeah. Right? Like don't spew this everywhere. And then now people are coming out saying it's true. Coaches are saying it's true. Like they're just personally texting them now, like we still don't have. And then like, I'm like, are you sure he gave you an ultimatum, or did he just say, if you come with me, you have a job at LSU. If you don't, I can't promise you you're going to have a job.
Which is absolutely a thing that's real. So could totally be something that he said.
And then he doubled down in his press conference, and people are saying he's lying. Like the AD had him in a hotel room and they're going at it and like all this stuff. And it's like, I don't know what's real, what's not real. Then I heard today from a guy who said he knows for a fact that Lane Kiffin told LSU 4 or 5 weeks ago that he was coming.
Oh, I believe that wholeheartedly.
Which I was shocked because Lane Kiffin was like a changed person. I watched the documentary. I've been listening to him. I'm like, he's a changed person, right? He's lost all this weight and he's, very healthy and they're winning, and I don't know.
Yeah. I believe that he told them far and long ago. I don't hate Lane Kiffin at all for what he did. Do I think that he handled it was interesting? Sure. But am I surprised by it? No, that's very much the Lane Kiffin way to handle something like this, to be honest. We've seen it happen mostly everywhere. I'm not surprised that like I said, I'm surprised he didn't go to Florida. Truthfully, that was surprising to me. I guess LSU really offered him something he couldn't refuse, and I think that's what it came down to. I believe he told them as soon as he had decided, which I do think was probably weeks ago. I would say that, like, from my perspective, like, one, I do think that Lane Kiffin is one of those coaches that can be bought, and that's sheerly speculation. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying that, like, there's coaches I know that I think all coaches do it for the love of the game, but I do know that there's some who do it for the love of the game. And if someone's offering more money, they're going to take it, right? But a lot goes into decisions like that we don't see. And some of those things are like, oh, are my kids at ages where it makes sense for us to move? Mm-hmm. Does my son really want to play football at LSU? And the only way I can guarantee that happening is if I coach there. And hey, someone in my family has a serious medical condition and I need to make sure that I have health insurance for them for the next 5 years. And that's how long my contract is here. And I don't know what my contract is at Ole Miss. And those are the things. And like, I'm not saying it was any of those things. I don't know this man's personal life circumstance, or like maybe his wife, ex-wife / they're back together, I don't really know, said she wanted to move there and it's a family decision. Like there's so much more to it outside of the football decision and aspect of it. Do I think that LSU will be an easier school to win a national championship at? Technically, yes, because they'll provide him with everything that he could possibly need to win one. And I don't even think Ole Miss wasn't. LSU is just a bigger brand than Ole Miss. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I've been so engulfed in this the last 2 days because I am at home, so I can just
Yeah.
the things that have come out now where he wanted the Florida job, but apparently they were telling him who to hire for certain things.
Which that is a thing that happens. And I know a lot of coaches that turn down jobs for that because how are you supposed to run your program if you're told you have to hire these coaches?
So that turned him off
Yeah,
from
that would turn
Florida.
me off too.
So that's what he wanted. He wanted to
Yeah.
go to Florida because I think he liked living there when he was at Florida Atlanta. I think he likes being there. So that was the first thing I heard. So then LSU came into the picture and he told them yes weeks ago. But he was communicating with the athletic director of Ole Miss of like, this is what's going on. So the whole of like he's just now finding out is false. But I don't think he told the athletic director he was taking it. I think he was just saying like we're talking, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
And he told him
Which
that Saturday night.
I don't think he owes the Ole Miss athletic director that information. And look, I didn't think I would be here sitting here defending the hell out of Lane Kiffin, but I do agree with that portion of it.
That I don't think he does either. I think it's because
Yeah.
it was a verbal yes. There was nothing
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Very different.
and Lane Kiffin's up there saying it was a hard decision and people don't believe him. I think it was a hard decision because this is his longest tenured school of all time, 6
It was
years.
absolutely a hard decision. When people say that they don't believe things like that are hard decisions, and again, they're not going to understand this life because they don't live this life. Every coaching decision is a hard decision. Every single one, whether it's you leave, you stay, you get fired, you have to get fired. Like, do you think head coaches like firing their guy? They came there with that guy and they personally handpicked that guy. They spent 100 hours a week together for the last probably 10 years. They don't want to all football coaching decisions are hard decisions. Yeah.
What else was I wrong on? There was a couple things. Apparently, LSU didn't offer him more money in name, image, likeness. Old Miss was matching it and like all this stuff. And I'm like, until I see it, I don't know how true that is what these guys were saying. Um, it, I don't think Lane Kiffin would have left if that wasn't true. I think he would have stayed.
I don't think that there was ever going to be a world where Lane Kiffin stayed at Ole Miss when LSU and Florida were his options.
Right. And he did what he was supposed to do. He stayed there for 6 years. He made it like I know they hired Pete, but if Lane would have took that 4 weeks ago, that would have been a destination spot for somebody. Like, look at Ole Miss.
Yeah, 100%. I do think that hiring Pete Golding wasn't necessarily a bad thing. I do think it was a panicky thing, though.
Yeah, because people are saying Lane, when he said he was leaving 4 or 5 weeks ago, he should have just left right then and there. But also, us coaches were very competitive, and so I think Lane was like, "Well, I want to coach this team. Like, I want to
Yeah.
finish this and see if we get to the playoff and see if we can finish it." So he just wanted to coach it out and see. And now they're in that position. So I understand where Lane's coming. Like, yes, maybe the best way to handle is just left 4 or 5 weeks ago. Like, hey, you have plenty of time to hire somebody. But I also think Lane was just. I don't think even though he said yes, I think he just said yes because that's what he wanted. But I think he was also. He's like a part of him's like I want to stay a little bit. Like it was very tough. I don't think people understand that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think people understand that. I think also too, like full transparency, I think if this was last year and it was like Jackson Dart, he wouldn't have left. He would have waited till the end of the season and knowing that that was their last season because all coaches love their players equally, but they love them differently. And some just do mean more to you than others. And so I think that you can see the relationship that Jackson Dart and Lane Kiffin had and have. He goes to his NFL games when he can. I think that that's one of those deciding factors. And I'm not saying any negative feelings towards Trinidad Chambliss. That's not what I mean. It's just that, like, clearly you can tell that they had different relationships, and Lane and Jackson had way more time together as well. So I'm not saying it couldn't have become something either. But, like, you would ride or die, I would ride or die for my dad's players. I can't imagine how much more I would ride or die for them if I was their head coach. So,
Right.
yeah, it's always going to be a hard decision, even if it is the right one. That doesn't, not all decisions that are the right ones are easy to make.
Well, and then people were mad because he sent his family to Gainesville and Baton Rouge on an airplane. Well, he explained it. He was like, "Well, yeah, my family is important." So he said, if they
Yeah.
don't like those areas, then I'm not even going to entertain going. But they were all
100%.
they they were mad about that.
Who
Well,
is mad at that?
well,
Crazy.
well, Lane's easy to hate, very much so, and I get why people hate him.
Yes, I do too.
So right now, all I've seen the last 2 days, like I said, I'm probably more engulfed in this than I should. I'm watching everything on YouTube. These people, if I was at school working, I wouldn't have had time to do it. But since I'm
For
home,
sure. Yeah.
everybody was like, "How would you feel if your head football coach was sending their family to this and to this school?" He was talking to the athletic director the whole time. Like they knew, like he knew what was going on, and like,
How
like
would your wife feel if you took some job in frickin' Bakersfield, California, and you never took her there? And it's
right.
not like you could go there with him. He's in the middle of football season.
I'm not mad about what he did. He was like, "Hey, this is what I said." I think I said on my podcast. I said him sending his family there is smart because they have to like where they're going. And then
Yeah.
the plus side, if he doesn't go, hey guys, you just had a free 2-day trip. They're buying you food. They're doing this. Like, go. They're going to pay for it. Go. And if I don't go, you had a free weekend.
Anybody who's the next person you see who's mad about that, tag me, because that is insanity to me. And I do agree. I think that Lane Kiffin is very polarizing. And so it's you love him or you hate him. And I can see why people feel both ways. But people will be mad at the stupidest stuff. That's really dumb. And please never let a man who will decide that we're moving somewhere without ever asking me find me. Please never let one of those men find me, because every coach I've ever known in the history of my 30 years of life, which I've known a lot, have never made a decision without consulting the rest of their family. And if they have, I check out my podcast. I've interviewed coaches all the time. They say the biggest regret in their career is the one time they decided to make a selfish decision without consulting the rest of their family.
One of them was AJ McCarron on a podcast. He is very fired up about it.
No, that's just, I'm fired up about how dumb people are for thinking that. That's just, and I don't normally want to I am much more promoting what I love instead of bashing people who are dumb. But that is just a objectively bad opinion of this.
Right. Right. And it didn't affect the players. They knew it. They saw the video.
100%.
Just a bunch of stuff came out. He gave coaches ultimatums that night. He had the contracts typed up for the assistant coaches. So he already knew. And I'm like, okay, then the 4-week thing was true. He has these contracts ready. I don't know if he gave him an ultimatum. I'd like to think he just said, if you come with me now, you have a job. If you don't, I can't promise you one. Is that an ultimatum? Maybe. But he even said, he goes, they have to make their own grown-up decisions. Like if they're going to stay and coach the playoff, awesome. And if they don't, then they have a job with me.
Yeah, I just have, again, I have a hard time believing insider sources, especially with things just like don't even make sense. Like, I'm mad that his family visited Gainesville and Baton Rouge.
Well, that
I don't
it
know,
all
man.
tied together of like you
Yeah.
waited till the last moment. You're trying to burn the university down. You're trying to recruit the
No.
coaches. You're trying to recruit the players to go to LSU. You should have just left 4 or 5 weeks ago, so that way Ole Miss could have hired somebody in the cycle and try to get this and that. My argument was if Lane left and they didn't hire Pete Golding, there's still coaches out there. So if they wanted to post it and go get somebody, they still can.
Well, and not only that, again, like, does Lane Kiffin portray himself slightly as an individual who's selfish? Sure. But he also has every right to make the right decision for him and himself and his family. And if the way that he went about this situation was the right way to do it for them, whether we like it or not, he doesn't care.
No, that's why I'm like if he felt like this was the right way
Yeah.
to do it for himself,
Yeah.
and there was probably that part of him where he was regretting saying yes to LSU, and that's why he kept going because he's like, maybe I'll stay, maybe I won't, even though I think he knew he was leaving. But I think a part of him was like, I want to finish this.
Yeah. I think all coaches want to finish what they started for the season. I truly do believe that, especially just like the mid-season firings. I get why they happen, but it sucks. You're a coach, you've put in a lot of hours. You want to see it out. You're competitive by nature. You have this sickness that is a love for college football that's like so beyond anything. So like wholly locked in on one thing. Like not being able, I think all coaches would agree on it. Like they don't like when other coaches get fired mid-season because they're like, yeah, I'd be pissed if that was me because I want to finish what I started.
Right, right. But then also,
Good, bad, or ugly.
and then for Lane, the Old Miss fans can be mad, of course. Like your coach, and it's just a unique situation. Would they have been this mad if they weren't in the playoff? Like that's the thing is, if it was a bowl game, I don't think they'd be as mad. But also, coaches, we're also very competitive. So maybe he has an itch that hasn't been scratched yet, where he's like, if I go to LSU, maybe this is it. And he even said it. He goes, I have to prove this right. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
Yeah. Never be attached to the outcome.
No, and he's a guy that he wants to be wanted. You could tell.
Yes. Yes.
So when his USC debacle happened, he loved that Nick Saban gave him an opportunity. He loved that Florida Atlantic wanted him. He loved that Ole Miss wanted to take a chance. But it's just all this stuff. Now you're seeing all the stuff of like how bad of a person he is, and it's coming from Ole Miss fans. And I laugh. I'm like, weren't you just praising him like 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And then he
Yeah.
leaves, and
I don't think you get to switch it up like that, truly. Just because somebody this might be a very controversial take. Just because somebody did something that you don't like and it hurt your feelings doesn't mean you all of a sudden get to start slandering them. That's just my opinion, right? Like I mean, you get to decide your actions and you don't get to decide the consequence of those actions. But like you were praising him 3 weeks ago and all he did was leave your school to coach at another one, which is something that's totally normal and people do all the time. And now you're deciding to expose everything that he's the shittiest person in the entire world. Like I have a problem with like just that whole thing in and of itself.
oh yeah,
That ideology. Like you're living by this ideology that like it doesn't matter what somebody is doing if they're serving you in the way that you would like, but the second they switch up on you, now you're going to expose everything that they did that you hated. Like that's like that, you know what that exactly is? That's like you have this boyfriend or girlfriend for a year and a half and then you break up and you start posting all the shit you hate about them online. It's like, you look crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I laugh at it. You're right. I laugh at it because I don't know. I just laugh at it because it's so funny that they get that mad, but then he just gave you 6 years of his life to try to build up your program. And the funny thing is, like, I'm an Illinois fan. I do not talk shit when Illinois had a chance to be really good this year, and they didn't do it. But I know where Illinois has come from. They don't have a great history of this. Illinois basketball is really good right now, but there was a 8-year period where we weren't. So I'm very careful. Old Miss fans now act like they are Alabama. Like, that's what they're acting like right now, is like, how could you leave? And I'm like, don't you remember what it was before he got there? Like, Ole Miss hasn't been that good in football for a very long time.
Very long.
So be careful when you're doing this, because now you're going to chase other coaches away because they're like, I'm not going to deal with this if I leave. And then the thing is, like, Somerville is hired at Florida. I didn't see anything about hate for him. And I know it's a completely different situation, but it's his team had a chance to be in the playoff, and they're getting ready for a conference championship game. There's a small chance. Their AD's letting him coach in it.
Well, and then they're like, well, if he would have just handled it the way Summerall did, we'd all not be mad. And I'm like, you guys kind of seem like a group of people that were going to be mad regardless of how Lane Kiffin handled this.
Right. And it's because Somerville's not Lane Kiffin.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I will say this as well. Like, for all of the things, no one should be surprised that this is the way Lane Kiffin went about it. This is who he is.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, I didn't think it was ever going to happen. He was going into year 6. I'm like, maybe he is staying. He didn't go to Alabama like this. Maybe he is. And then, it starts swirling, and I'm like, here we go. It's going to happen. And like, if you're Ole Miss and you went back 6 years ago and you said you're going to hire Lane Kiffin, you're going to go 11-1 at some point and make the college football playoff, but this is how it's going to end. Lane Kiffin's going to do this. Are you still hiring him? And the answer better be yes, because you won a lot of football games with him. Like, the answer still better be yes.
100%. 100%. And they're going to, like, holier than thou and be like, no, we never would have. Then you wouldn't have hired him in the first place, because, again, this has always been who Lane Kiffin is. So nothing about the way he handled it should be surprising to you.
Right. You just didn't know when it was going to happen.
Exactly.
And I think the Tennessee leaving is worse than this. That's just me.
Exactly. So when people are like, I thought he was a changed man and I really believed him, which is so funny that you said that, because I have seen that argument a lot. I don't disagree. And I saw a version of Lane Kiffin these last couple of years that was somebody who I liked a lot more, because obviously he was in Southern California at the same time that I lived there and grew up there, and I didn't like him. And he convinced me I should like him. But people have an innate nature. And this, again, is just who Lane Kiffin is. Like, it's just not surprising in any way.
Right. So you got to take the good with the bad. You're going to win football games.
Yeah.
But if he wants to leave, he's going to leave. And it's not going to be fun. It's fun for me because it's entertaining to watch all this unfold. But, like, for them, it's not fun.
Yeah. And again, you had to have known that this is what you were going to get with Lane Kiffin.
Oh, we all knew. We just didn't know when.
Yeah.
But I was the one guy that thought he would never leave when he was there for so long.
Yeah, I would say it's the only reason it's not surprising to me is because of the schools that were the options.
Right.
Then I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense why he left.
Right. I thought he was going to go to Alabama. Like, that was my first.
I will be honest. I don't think he's a good fit for Bama. And I say that because Bama doesn't want the coach that brings the drama that Lane Kiffin has with him. I think that works at LSU. I think it's a good fit for LSU. And that's not a shade, like that's not me throwing shade at them. I think that the wildness, the whatever is wrong with Lane Kiffin, I love it. And it is a perfect fit for LSU. I think Bama is much more of like the classy, traditional, we want a guy who's non-problematic like Nick Saban school these days. And Lane Kiffin does not fit that mold.
That's a great point, because LSU is going to let Lane Kiffin be Lane Kiffin. So he's
Yes.
going to
Correct.
just like Ole Miss did.
Yep.
He's going to say whatever he wants in interviews. Yep. He's going to act the way he's going to act.
Yep.
But you're probably going to win a lot of football games.
Yep. And you know what? A lot can be forgiven when you win college football games.
That's the thing at Ole Miss. Now you're seeing like, oh, we don't have to deal with his antics no more. I'm like, well, you weren't complaining about that for the past 6 years.
When you were winning football games.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be real mad when some of those players leave and go to LSU.
Yeah, I think it's going to be more than people are expecting. And then cue them being even more mad.
Because my buddy coaches at Mount Zion High School. Their tight end was going to Ole Miss. Today, LSU. Already switched.
Yeah, 100%. No, I know. And like, again, do I think it's a lot going on? Absolutely. But from my perspective, I absolutely can defend why he's done what he's done. And I get why fans are mad. Like I said, it's like they're going through a bad breakup and they're publicly posting on it online, which is bizarre behavior, but like that's what it's an equivalent to.
I guess I'm have to be an LSU fan, I guess. Because I love to go back at people. And I got to find a way to get to the LSU Ole Miss game. Because that's going to be
cinema.
Because I thought it was cool when he went to Tennessee. And I thought that was bad. This is going to be real bad.
Oh, I'll be at that game. That's for damn sure.
I got to find my way down there.
Hilarious.
I didn't
think I'd come on this pod all night and be defending Lane Kiffin, but now that you really spelled it out for me, I guess that is my perspective.
Well, mine too. I kind of defended him myself, but I also was first to say like there would have been a much better way to go about this.
For sure.
But I think I honestly believe that he was conflicted. Even though he said yes, I think he was just honestly conflicted.
I think every coach is conflicted every time. And that's where, like, you're not wrong. I think he was absolutely conflicted because, again, I would die for my dad's players. Like, I would do anything for them. And not even his. I would die for anybody on the NC State football team. And so I can only imagine how Lane Kiffin felt about them all. It's hard to leave that. It's hard to leave a good situation. It also wasn't even a bad situation. It was a great situation.
Right.
You got to do the right thing for you and your family.
Right. And the calendar hurt that situation.
For sure. And that's not Lane Kiffin's fault.
No, that's whoever runs college football's fault.
Yes.
If they had an NFL style where it says you can't talk to coaches till their season's over, that would solve a lot of problems.
Yeah.
And Lane Kiffin, I think, was just trying to wait to see what the season was going to unfold to be, and go about it that way. And I think he felt if he would have left 4 or 5 weeks ago, then those players may not make it to the playoff. He felt like
Absolutely.
so he was just trying he was still like, that's the thing people don't get. He was still coaching for Ole Miss. Like, he was doing everything he could to get them to win.
Yes. Yes. 100%. And I think he unselfishly coached there longer for the exact reason that you're saying. Because if he would have left sooner, there would have been a chance that they didn't make the playoffs for whatever reason. It's hard to go through a coaching change. And so he ensured to get them as far as he possibly could. 100%.
But I find it interesting. I 100% understand why he cannot coach in the playoff. The athletic director is just, but you're going to let Charlie Weiss, who left with Lane Kiffin to go to Ole Miss or LSU, to come back and coach.
That seems very odd to me. That's very much giving bitter X. The AD is now bitter X who doesn't want to let Lane Kiffin finish out the season, which is, I totally understand why, but it does, I am 100% with you. It seems odd to let the offensive coordinator come back, who again wasn't calling the plays. So it should still technically affect their playoff positioning, in my opinion.
Well, that's another thing people don't understand. And I hate this in the NFL. They give like an offense coordinator title to coaches. That doesn't mean they're calling the plays. Sometimes it does.
Yes.
Like for the Bears, for example, Ben Johnson calls the plays.
It's 100% Ben.
But he hired an offensive coordinator, so people were like, well, is Ben calling the plays? I'm like, 100% he is. That guy's job is to install, organize practice, make sure everything's good because head coaches have so much to do that they always can't be around, and then they get it ready for game day. That's what their job is.
Yep. 100%.
So now you're going to have a guy come in. It's none of that made sense. And so people were saying, oh, this is the perfect chance. Ole Miss, give Charlie Weiss all this money, force him to stay, and this and that. And then the athletic director for Ole Miss retweeted the fact that Charlie Weiss was coming back to coach the playoff. Like, he retweeted it with the red and blue like emojis. Like, now you're just as bad as Lane Kiffin.
Yeah. Again, what a disaster. But also, again, I would never expect anything less from Lane Kiffin.
No, I'm not shocked at all.
No.
I hope it works out. I hope he does a lot.
Yeah, I will. As a coach's kid, I will never be rooting on coaches' downfalls because it just feels like bad karma, and it could always be my dad next. And so I'll never be rooting for that. I'm hoping that he's successful there, and I hope Pete Golding's successful at Ole Miss. I do know that karma is a bitch, and so we never know, and it will come back and bite us in the ass. But if they feel like they all handled everything to the best of their ability, then it shouldn't be a problem.
Right. I'm looking this up again. I'm still in awe that he's coming back to coach. And then the guy retweeted it. You're the athletic director, man. Don't be doing that. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that is very odd.
Because he's just going to do what Lane Kiffin would have done. He's going to fly back there and be like, guys, LSU is so awesome. Like this and this, what Lane's going to do. Like all the reasons you told Lane Kiffin he couldn't do, this guy's going to do.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. And then they said he lied about the players wanting him to coach. It was one player, not players.
And here's the thing. You can't believe what 18 to 22-year-old boys say either about any of that. Because some people are going to be stoked that he's gone, right? Because they're getting screwed or they're not getting paid enough or they're not playing or whatever. And half the players are going to be pissed that he's gone because they loved him and they worked hard and they got the money that they deserved and they played and then this and then that. And so you can just never believe any of that.
No. And then they're all happy for Pete, which is awesome. But what happens in this playoff game? You're starting to lose. They'll turn on him. They're going to be like, "You're not Lane."
Well, the other thing too that I think no one's talking about because they're just so on the Lane Kiffin thing is that it's very interesting that they're going from having truthfully the most mastermind offensive play caller in college football at this point to having a defensive head coach. It's just a little odd.
Well, I think you said earlier it was a panic hire because they felt like they didn't want to go through all that and they wanted somebody there. And the players like him because he's not the head coach. Not every player, even though they're playing there, likes their head coach. They like they like the coordinator, they like the position coach because that's who they deal with every single day. So it's easy for them to be like, yes, it's easy for them to get caught up in, well, you didn't leave us, he left us.
Yeah.
And the fact that the AD didn't let Lane talk to the team was very AD didn't handle it well either. Like, you're not going to let him talk to the team before he leaves?
That I need this to go on record. You can't. ADs a lot of the time won't let you because technically those aren't your players anymore, and it is an NCAA violation.
Oh, okay.
Yes. People are always like, he didn't even tell the team. The AD probably didn't let him. Some ADs are nice and like, we'll let you, or we'll be like, yeah, you can. But also, so I'm assuming that the AD said no. And then you know what? There's a side of me that's like, respect the AD enough to follow those rules. And then there's a side of me that's like, screw it. Should you talk to them anyways? Right? So I see both sides of that coin as well. But also, what do you say to the players? Like what? Because he's already had conversations with them, the ones that he felt like he needed to have, working up to the point he actually left, because he's known for weeks that he's leaving. And people are like, no, he made the decision last minute. He was probably thinking about it and like settling in his decision. But every time my dad leaves, I've known for 3 weeks before that shit was public, right? So like he knew, he had the conversations that needed to be had. And people are like, Brian Kelly was so rude when he left. This is all he said to the players. What do you say to the players when you get fired? Like, what do you say? And again, this is different because you're leaving for a different job. But like, okay, good luck, guys. Like, I'm going to miss you. It's just like, what do you say?
Okay, that's a great point. I didn't even think about it like that. I didn't know it was a rule. So
yeah, it's an NCAA violation.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true. Maybe because I've seen NFL guys talk to their players when they get fired and stuff like that. So I think about it from that point. But NFL is different, way different than college.
Yeah.
That's true. I guess I don't know what he's going to say.
Yeah. So I was thinking about those two sides of it too. Like a lot of ADs won't let you talk to the players. And also, if you are the coach, what are you going to say?
Well, and he can just text them or whatever if he wants to.
Yeah, technically, also an NCAA violation, but the loophole is previous relationship.
See, I'm learning a lot. See, I don't know. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Because NCAA had a lot of rules. I walked on at Eastern, and I remember in class, the rule was if you had a group project in a class and you went to a restaurant, I could buy their food for them. Like, you know, when you go out with friends and they're like, hey, I'll buy the next one, you get this one, but they can't buy it for me. And I was like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's an NCAA rule. And this was 2009. And they're like, this is a rule. And I'm like, well, this is stupid.
Yeah.
So I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah.
So what we're saying is, because I'm sorry, we're defending Lane Kiffin for a very, very long time. So apparently Lane Kiffin isn't as bad as everybody thinks.
Basically, when you put aside feelings, which obviously I have none either way, because I have no allegiance to Ole Miss or to LSU. He's not that bad of a guy. And anyone who would have expected for Lane Kiffin to handle it differently never started following college football 3 years ago, because this has always been Lane's brand.
Mm-hmm. And coaches leave all the time.
Yep.
Even my guy Mike Leach, when he was at Washington State, he went to Mississippi State. I'm like, look what happened. He left.
R.I.P.
Oh, he was my favorite. It was real sad. I was going to go to Mississippi State, I think, to like watch a practice, and then that happened.
Yeah, my dad is from the Mike Leach coaching tree, so I always love that man.
Oh yeah, I have all the books. I have everything. That's my guy.
Yeah.
I ran his offense this year for the most part. So I'm like, this is my guy.
Love it. Love it. All right, what's next? I feel like we have to stop defending Lane Kiffin, or people are really going to start coming for me, and I don't know if I can handle it.
Oh, you can.